Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the rationalinvestor.co. Actually, why don't we put these away? We do not need those publicly out there. Hello, everyone. And we're live on YouTube. Yay. Woohoo. Oh, where the hell's that damn page? I can hear that guy yammering away in the background. It's like echoing. Well, that's not it. Hey, there we are over there. Anyway, as you can tell, we've actually done this as a public show on YouTube today. So anybody on YouTube watching this afterward, you can clearly tell that, you know, Brian's a total amateur at this. I'm not that professional, but what I actually am very, very pleased to see with, and actually I had a great birthday meal with Alex Sturck and a bunch of site guys. Dane, is that Dane? I think Dane was at my birthday dinner there. That was so nice over the weekend. But anyway, it appears that we are helping people. Yeah, that is you. Cool. And yeah, I wouldn't mind going to that mining conference that you were talking about. So keep me posted. But it appears that we are trying to, well, not trying to, we are actually helping a lot of people out there in the world. And super pleased with the positive feedback from all the students that just finished the most recent level 1 course. They're all ready to rock this market, and they're already actually banging out doubles and stuff. So it's just great to see. We have a new term coming up here, and there was a few people on YouTube that were like, "Hey, Brian, you haven't done like one of those public broiler chicken shows in a while." So I thought, what the hell? Let's throw this out to the public for today. And if I'm not mistaken, we were kind of joking before the show. There is a bit of a crypto event coming up here. So not a bad idea for us to check in on the charts and just give us sort of like a technical basis for what we see going on in crypto heading into this event. And, you know, the people that are on YouTube and stuff like that, maybe give you an opportunity to interact with the site a little bit. We do have, actually, I'm actually pretty impressed because usually the weekend show, it takes a while to get started and people slowly filter in. We do this show Monday to Friday and we have like co-hosts and stuff. So I'm just sort of winging it here on the weekend. But we do have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people in the lounge with me. Feel free to ask questions. And actually, this was posted out on YouTube, so you might even be able to join the Hangout. I'm not quite sure how that works with YouTube, but you know, give it a shot if you can. I do see that there's about 20 or 30 people out there on internet land, YouTube land watching. I see John, Consensus Pump. Maybe that's what we see going on right now, which is good. I see Brian AXAOS is there. Hi, Brian. Nice to see you. And Choon. Hi. Yeah, there's a few people. Hi, guys. Nice to see everybody. So when will the $40 membership be available again? I'm not even quite sure what you're referring to there, John. I think actually a site membership, if you sign up for like 6 months, is like $20-30 or something. So if you want to pay the higher price, you know, feel free, you know, you're more than welcome to, but I'd rather actually keep this as cheap as possible for you. But anyway, good morning, everybody. I'm just sort of rambling here a little bit. FYI, and you've probably seen on my Twitter feed and Facebook feed like that, it was my birthday on Friday, and I was just absolutely overwhelmed. I got to tell everybody, absolutely overwhelmed with the amount of positivity sent my way. And feeling really positive about that. That's actually a really good comment, John. Thank you for mentioning that. I'll have Julian, our site admin, and he's actually thinking about coming on and doing a presentation. Hi, Thomas. Nice to see you, bud. He's thinking about coming on doing a presentation here, his RSI model for you guys here shortly. He's fighting with his TradingView charts right now, so keep our fingers crossed. I saw this morning Bugra, and we did a great episode, and I got such great feedback from everybody on it. We did a daily brief episode midweek last week where we went through a bunch of setups and trading scripts that people, thank you, Brian, appreciate that, that people have created. And Bugra, we got Bugra in the house, and I think, Bugra, did you just book a double on one of your algo signals? You want to, yeah, right on, dude. So, you know, if you feel like coming on and telling the public about what you're doing and your Megalodon script that you wrote, which is pretty fucking incredible, you know, feel free. This is an open forum day today. So if we can get more traffic for you, that's totally awesome. Here is, I think, his trade on LUN. Oh yeah, I got a whole shitload of this thing, so that's good to see him running up here. Nice trade, dude. You are the man. I love to see, and if it's one thing I absolutely love, I love to see site participants, students, site members successful in the market. It just touches my heart. It's the whole damn reason why I'm doing this to begin with, is I want to see you guys succeed. So it just makes my heart sing to see you guys kicking ass. Okay, so that's a little bit of nostalgia there for you. Hugs and kisses. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And maybe, like I said, if we're lucky, we'll get Julian to come on, give us his read of the RSI model. And, you know, he makes extensive use of like Jeremy's scripts. Jeremy, we love your scripts. They're just beautiful. And Benjamin, he's writing scripts, so he's also here today. These are just such great tools. Love the participation. Nice to see you, Thomas. Hey, can we get a little low octave PMA out of you, Thomas? How you doing this morning? You got your microphone handy?
Yeah, I'm not bad. How are you, boss?
There he is. I love that voice. Very wet to get us going. Nice to see you, Slick. I'm always thinking about you, dude. So I hope you're doing well. Yeah, no, sorry. All right, okay. Anyway, nice to see you.
No, it's cool. Say no more.
All right. You're the best, man. And actually, I officially got my passport. So, and Jamie over there in UK, he's been like begging me to get over there. So quite literally, as soon as I get the green light, I'm hopping on a plane over. I'm crashing on your couch probably in a week or two. So you better be ready for that.
That's cool. All right.
Oh, right on, man. Okay, we should probably talk a little Bitcoin. You know, I actually, you know, because this is a public presentation, I think we'll just start off at the higher time frame. Everybody should remember this chart, and anybody on YouTube page and have watched all the whatever they called the coinage shows over the years, you probably should be familiar with this chart. I don't really think there's a heck of a lot of difference to the market since even the last time I did the coinage show. In that, you know, right now all we're doing is we're just cleaning up after the party, and sometimes, you know, these cleanups can take a heck of a long time to play out. You know, we had the Bitcoin dad and his presentation in front of the U.S. Congress, government, whatever. And the SEC guys. What's the SEC guy's name? I can never remember his name. But anyway, he was sort of the bad cop, and Bitcoin dad, the CFTC guy. And actually, after that presentation, I followed him on Twitter and stuff. I kind of like him. He's a swell guy. But I get the feeling that he sort of encouraged the market to maybe stop shitting on Bitcoin. And in essence, we found a bottom through that event. And what's fascinating about, you know, all the fibs and stuff is, you can see the counter trend rally, dead cat bounce just did nothing more than take us right back up into a 38.2 fib. And what was also interesting too is if we draw them off of these lows, that was also 38.2 from the move up. So this is like, I would argue that this level sort of here, you know, 11,000 on the downside here and 12,000 on the upside, these 38.2s, this is like a brick wall for Bitcoin right now. And I think we're probably a little bit early for us to have considered this level resolved. An old gnarly trader dude that I used to work with years ago used to always say, wait for 38.2 to resolve itself to tell you the trend. And so you could argue that the move up, we bounced off 38.2 on the initial dump. We rallied back up, and then we failed. So that sort of resolved bearishly. And now we're in the process of asking, all right, can we resolve the 38.2 back on the upside? And I think also, too, if we just all right, so Jeremy's suggesting we just lost a New York attorney to a sex scandal and such. Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate it. I don't know how that's going to affect Bitcoin, but thank you. So, you know, at present, I think we are still very much sort of trapped in the, we bounced off of a very natural level that most markets like to bounce off of. You guys have heard me talk about reload zones, you know, ad nauseum over the years. So it really shouldn't have surprised us to see a little bit of demand. Also, to look left kind of concept as we were working our way down. This was just all open air, but boom, we have a key weekly pivot. We also have the breakout high from, you know, basically back at the end of last summer, right around this 4,000 or 5,000 area. And in fact, this weekly pivot low there, 5,555. Fascinating, eh? That they actually have that exact number. I don't know whether that's exactly correct, but a bit shocking, really. But it shouldn't surprise us that, you know, look left, reload zones. We all know good old Mountain Man, 61.8. He's going to be sitting there taking this level just blindly just because he's a fib trader. And you can see, you know, he got his bounce back into resistance. And now we're just sort of deciding, you know, do we actually find a bottom here? The problem with this kind of price action is if we actually change it to a line chart, you can see that, you know, and everybody should know what's Brian's favorite letter of the alphabet if you're a bull. Anybody? Actually, that's a good question for the YouTubers. We got like about 40 or 50 people over there. So somebody that doesn't know me, who can tell me what is Brian's favorite letter of the alphabet? You guys all know. You're not allowed to answer in the lounge. Hey, Mr. NBW888 got it. Excellent. Way to go. You know, I don't know what it is, and maybe in a weird sort of way. Oh, are you Mr. NBW? Are you a site member? You weren't supposed to answer. But anyway, the point here is, I don't know what it is about me, but I prefer to be a bull. I don't like, oh, Andrew, you party pooper. I know you do like to short. So yeah, he's definitely M kind of guy. But I don't know what it is. And you know, when I was a broker, during bear markets, they used to actually always say like, oh, it's un-American to short the stock market. It's unethical, right? And so, and you know, 80-90% of all the public never short. They just, it isn't part of their vocabulary. So I don't know, maybe it's a personal bias. I know like Julian, he loves to short Bitcoin. And a lot of our site members, we have one gentleman, we affectionately call him the bear. And he loves to short OKCoin. He has just the funnest time. So, you know, maybe it's just old man-itis of Brian. I'm not really that excited about shorting, but lots of our, you know, our admin people and site co-hosts and stuff like that for our shows, they're giving short ideas right, left, and center. But you know, old man Brian, I like the W. So you know, and when we look at this chart from a clothesline perspective, you know, the letters of the alphabet should jump out at us, and it sucks, right? You can't sugarcoat it, right? You know, we see a lot of M's, and we can't really start going, okay, this is a bull until we start seeing the W's again, like we saw. You know, the irony of it all is anybody that was working with me through, you know, and this was the dark days of Bitcoin, right? But hopefully everybody can see, as of this point right here, we stopped making M's and we started making W's, higher highs and higher lows on the weekly charts. Well, you know, for us to see the next Bitcoin bull, that's what we got to start seeing. So the very first part of this process is we have to come, you know, sell off, rally away from those lows, go down and test the lows, and we want to see those previous lows hold and buyers come back in. So if anything, you know, it's constructive what we're doing. They've definitely taken the fluff out of Bitcoin price, and that's good. You know, I was at my birthday dinner. I was, and maybe we can show you guys a picture of it. You know, I'm so privileged, and I don't understand why I am privileged like this, but for some reason, one of sort of crypto's aristocracy has decided that that I'm not such a bad guy. And every once in a while he pops into my life and I get to chew his brain. And where did I put that? Yeah, here it is. So we were all fortunate. We had a nice conversation with Alex. There's our birthday dinner, and here's Shane, rock and roll, meow, meow, meow. Dane's in the lounge here. This guy is a card. You know, if you're on the site, try and befriend Dane. I mean, this guy will keep you laughing all fucking evening. I had such a great time with you, dude. We had Xavier here, and Xavier, he's an interesting. Dane, do you remember what his it's a special name where he does tricks and stuff on a tightrope? Really cool. I can't remember the name of it offhand. It's like slack lines. That's what you call it, slack lines. Anyway, so we had a really fun dinner, but the long and short of it here is we got to spend the night with Alex, and Alex I mean, this guy, he just knows everything about crypto. So I'm really fortunate that Alex seems to think that I'm a swell guy. So thank you, Alex, for participating in our dinner the other night. And, you know, I remember when we were going through this here, Alex was sort of shaking his head and saying, you know, this isn't healthy. This isn't how are we supposed to build out this space when we got all the public coming in saying they're going to get rich, you know, buying Bitcoins at like 15, 20 G's, right? And it wasn't logical. And he was like, can we please have like a developer cycle where we can just bring price back down, let things calm down, and the developers can just do their thing? And frankly speaking, I think that's exactly what we're going through right now. Is we have to, unfortunately, you know, wash the weak hands, the people that came in and bought Bitcoin up here just thinking they were going to make $1 million because CNBC told them that they were going to make $1 million. And we got to get to the point where, and it kind of sucks, but, you know, for the public, we got to get to the point where they're just not that interested anymore. And it's a long, slow process. Now, the great part about it, of course, is this is crypto and it moves at light speed. When we went through this blow off top in the NASDAQ back in 2000, this took like a couple of years to play out. The cool part about Bitcoin is this can happen in like 6 months, 8 months. They can clean this thing right out. So that's good. You know, that's always positive. But the point of the matter here is for the higher time frame, the mom and pops that just want to know what is the trend, I would say you just have to wait until we get these weekly W's before you can start saying, all right, the trend is the bottom is in and we're heading higher. Right now, I think at absolute best, we can say that we're stuck in a trading range. And I think these I think that's white. Anyway, these white lines define the current trading range. And so it really shouldn't surprise us that, you know, if we saw the bounce back to sort of 38.2 sort of traffic area. If we just take our same concept of the higher time frame, this reload zone concept, and we just simply draw off of this range, you should see that, oh, gee whiz, Brian's reload zones start to appear off of this trading range right down here, down to here. And, you know, we have one site member, we like to affectionately call him the Leprechaun, and he absolutely loves 88.6s, and you can see why. I mean, holy damn, what a fucking level. So if you can force yourself to hunt setups off the 88.6, wow, fantastic level. But it shouldn't surprise us that given this trading range, market ended up turning back up near the bottom end of the range. And I suppose you could argue we could probably do the same thing going this direction. And gee whiz, you know, as is the case off this higher time frame, we can make the argument that the market professionals, guys like, and you've probably seen me put this little M on the charts before. This is one of, I used to years ago work at a prop trading firm, and one of the best crude oil traders I have ever met. His nickname on the site was Mountain Man. And he just, I think I even told you, right? He's buying off of this level here, and you can see he got his bounce. It wouldn't surprise me if good old Mountain Man comes in here and hits Bitcoin right there. What is that level? It's about 96, 9,700 or so. So not a shock that price is backing off. Then you might argue that You know, our weekly chart analysis, we don't really have W's off of the clotheslines yet. I'm kind of thinking for the time being, you can kind of see this sort of wedge or like a coil developing where it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. Considering we already have M's working, our bias unfortunately has to be that we want to see W's put in here first before we declare this a bull. And for the very adept traders out there, I think there are opportunities within this range to trade back and forth. But make no mistake, that's a trader's life, you know, and a lot of people that are on YouTube and stuff like that that aren't like quote unquote traders, you're probably best just to cool your jets. And, you know, and a lot of site members that I've been talking to are just glued to this 78.6 down here around 4,500 bucks. And they're just, you know, hope that we can get down in here for those longer term sort of, you know, try to catch a falling knife buy signals. And there's still very realistic possibility that the market trades down there. There's nothing anecdotally here to say that quote unquote the bottom is in. If anything, like I said just a moment ago, I think for the time being, we are stuck in a trading range and we are just going to go back and forth until either we M out and make a lower low or we W, and then we can start thinking about, hey, this thing's a bull and let's start rocking and rolling. And actually, you know what I noticed recently, and it was so cool, and I was kind of hoping he was going to be here. We had one gentleman, a site member, and I don't know whether I can do this fairly quickly or not, but I'll give it a go. He pulled up the 2013 bull market, and that's not the Gox bull that ended at the end of 2013, beginning of 2014. Where the hell's stamp on here? There it is. But he pulled up the bull prior to that, which I thought was really interesting. So not this bull, but this bull. And I think he changed it to a 2-day chart or something like that. And if you look at the price action, actually, there's quite a bit of comparison. It's actually really interesting. So I thought, let's see if I can quickly do that here for you guys. Yeah, through here. And I'm wondering whether our correction has to look something like this. There seems to be so many parallels here to this. So can you kind of see, you know, big, insane face rip up and then bam, slam down. So big face rip up and then bam, slam down. I don't know whether, you know, obviously nothing ever, you know, moves exactly the same, but I was, you know, pretty impressed with the similarities here. Then you notice the dead cat bounce and then sort of a long, slow malaise to come down and retest these lows. So dead cat bounce, we come down, we retest those lows. Those are holding in there, and we're just sort of choppy. And it's weird. It's like there's so many people that are interested in Bitcoin right now. I'm wondering whether, you know, we ever do actually get down into here, because everybody's like, if it ever gets down in, like I said earlier, if it gets down to 4,500, I'm buying the shit out of this. And usually when you hear that much chatter about people wanting to buy down here, it just never goes down there. It just pisses you off. So again, like I said, I mean, it's too early for us to call the bottom. We made a lower low here, but I'm wondering whether our correction has to look something along these lines. And of course, you know, there is, you know, there's guys like, and I always get his name wrong. Is it Thomas Lee? Is that the gentleman's name? You know, he's coming out and he's saying, well, by 2019, we're going to see $35,000, $36,000 Bitcoin. So, you know, I mean, he's pretty bullish, and I'm sure, you know, he speaks to a lot of audience, and I'm sure they're in there on the buy side. So, I don't know, it's just food for thought. And Shane, if you are around, or if you're watching this, are you over on YouTube? He did a really cool chart comparison, and I was quite impressed with all the similarities. Like if you look at the moving averages and stuff like that, there's a lot of similarities to this blow off top, not the Gox one. And it's weird. It's like almost everybody in the public is making reference to the Gox correction, but I don't think that's it. So, all right, take it easy, Dane. Is it the Cambridge House before you take off? Is it the Cambridge House conference? And are they charging for tickets, or are the tickets for free? No charge. All right. Well, dude, I'm totally down. You know, Brian, he's a cheap ass. And Dane, you have to do me a favor, and you have to find Robert Eady, right? Robert Eady, and I think his little crypto proxy, I think, is called Parlane, but let's talk about it on the site because I wouldn't mind picking his brain. Okay, so we can't see screen. No, you can't? Should be sharing this split screen. Can you guys see this? And somebody in the lounge tell me? Yeah, it's working fine. Maybe Bitcoin Welly, maybe you need to refresh or something. Okay, so that's a little bit of higher time frame perspective. Before I drill down to the lower time frames, I thought actually Julian is here, so that's kind of cool. Hey, Julian, is your trading view working for you?
It's not perfect, but I do have some of my charts. I had to recreate the whole chart because my chart that I used for everything somehow got corrupted.
Sure.
So it wasn't loading at all, and I actually had to find an old screenshot to figure out how to recreate it the way I had it. It's amazing how after using something for over a year, you can forget some of the settings you have because you're so used to just using it and looking at them.
Don't worry about it. I think I didn't update or I didn't even reboot the computer for like a month or something. And I had this computer crashed and I had to recreate it. I think it's like, oh my God. So, and you're just talking about TradingView itself. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before I go into my rant, do you feel like giving a nice presentation on your RSI model?
Well, what do you guys want to look at? Hold on. Let me pull up. Is there a YouTube channel? Let me find a link for that to see.
The YouTube show, it looks like it's just doing its thing. There is the link to the YouTube show. So, it's entirely up to you. I don't mean to put you on the spot. Why don't you take 5 minutes and get settled, and I'll just continue my rant here. As soon as you're ready, maybe just type ready in the text box or something, and that'll I'll set you up, okay?
All right.
All right, so what am I seeing off of lower time frames? Actually, you know what, the chart, and I did this chart up this morning. I've been doing this for the community, we're tweeting and stuff. I've been studying this bit flyer, the Bitcoin versus yen trade, for a while, because I really do believe that we have to be concerned with who's the motivated seller. There's always a motivated seller in any market, and it's my distinct impression that Mr. Gox, Mount Gox, the bankruptcy trustee gentleman, I'm sure somebody can find his name for me. He's kind of driving the bus as to whether Bitcoin's going to get whacked here, because he's a motivated seller and he's got a shitload of coins that have to be liquidated. Like I said, he's a motivated seller, and we got really upset with him through this period. If you want to go back and listen to Thomas the Bear's rants about how he was acting a little irresponsibly and just dumping coins on the market. Thomas Karpelis was the old CEO and founder of Mt. Gox, but there was actually a gentleman in Japan bankruptcy court that has sort of been given the file of how to manage this asset and sort of try and make the people who got screwed over in that deal somewhat happy. And it was really just a question of, he had a whole bunch of surplus coins that needed to be liquidated, and how was he going to liquidate them? Kobayashi, is that his name? Thank you, Benjamin. Appreciate that. Kobayashi Maru Anybody who remembers what that's from? Kobayashi Maru. Anyway, and a coincidence? I wonder. So the point that I would just make is that we actually got word, and I noticed, and I had been drawing a whole bunch of harmonics and stuff. And of course, we looked at that weekly price chart talking about trade location. It really shouldn't surprise us that as we came down into sort of buying zones, Bitcoin itself found a bit of a technical bottom. And what I really liked about this was basically price went sideways for about 2 or 3 weeks. And you guys probably remember the China ban from the 2013 top. Into that China ban event, exactly the same thing happened. And for our level 1 students, you guys remember we did liquidity events. It's exactly the same. And once that event was done, everything went sideways for like a week or two. And that set up what we actually called in 2014 the trade of the year. And price rallied into, then it was the first, and I suppose we could show you that. It was the first of the Silk Road government auctions, and Mr. Draper won that auction. And I'm wondering whether we got to see somewhat the same kind of thing. So that is that market. This set up the trade of the year. Like we said, price went very sideways. We had a big rally. And then this was the initial Silk Road government auction. I think that happened right here. Mr. Draper won. Did we ever figure out what price he paid for his coins? But shortly following that, and this is what kind of worries me about this current market, was following that event, basically into the summer, Bitcoin topped, and then we set up the ultimate dump window, which cleaned up the market down to about 100, 150 bucks. So I kind of think, if we were going to use the Gox sort of scenario, where are we now? I kind of think maybe we're like right in this area. And, for this current cycle, how big is the bounce? And as we said, we bounced up to 38.2s there a bit ago. And lo and behold, on this event, we started getting word that Mr. Kobayashi was coming back out and being active again. And what was weird is through here, we kind of got news that, well, no, Mt. Gox was going to go transfer into what they call civil rehabilitation. And everybody kind of went, oh, phew, okay, that's not so bad. And then what I thought was really interesting was we worked our way higher here. And right on this event, everybody's like, oh, shit, coins started moving around. He started moving around coins again. And the markets just peeled off. What was really interesting, rage quit fun break guy. Okay, that's kind of cool. What was interesting about this was you can see that on my RSI model, and this is just a really simple one that I'm following here. You can see it's sort of default settings, 14-day. You can see that set up a nasty bearish divergence here. Uh-oh, yuck. And that bearish divergence now has actually been confirmed. So there's problems here. Now, because we are in the higher time frame long zones, it's awfully tough for me to get too bearish here and say, strap on, shoot for zero kind of thing. At the very least, what we have to be thinking here is the bulls have to temper their enthusiasm until this plays out. You really don't have any choice. If we actually start looking at some of the actual trade models that I'm running and that I use, I was a little concerned that we actually ran into some GAN level resistance here, and those GAN support levels failed. We slammed into a level here over the weekend, so I felt a little pretty good about that. But according to our sort of speed bump thesis, really, here is 8-to-1 as trade location on GAN. And here is the bottom of the current arc. You can see that we were riding the arc up and we've lost the arc. And really logically, we should be looking for a kiss at the very least of this bottom arc. Do we go sideways to kiss the bottom of the arc? I don't know. I think it's a little too early to tell just yet. But also too, if we look at sort of like the daily charts, and I had this chart up here, but I think I lost it, which sucks. Too many charts, head's gonna explode. Yeah, darn. I don't know why maybe I have it over here. Please, 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 please. Are you over here? Nope. Fudge. Anyway, it was a different chart. Let's see if I can quickly do this. If we day, let's take maybe, yeah, I wanted to do it on Phoenix. I'm not quite sure why I don't have that. Sorry, guys. A little bit amateur here. I keep flipping back over the same ones here, don't I? Okay, well, let's do it here. We'll go like this, and then we'll go like this, and then we'll go like this. And I like to follow, to sort of set my bias on a daily basis. Wake up in the morning, okay, what am I supposed to be? Sort of what's my bias? And this actually is a really handy little way to just sort of keep you honest in the market. You don't necessarily have to take the trades off of these levels, but it definitely helps with sort of framing your expectations. So I like to follow, and it's sort of like it's a typical institutional sort of order desk, you know, sort of default template that they use to try and just help them be positioned correctly. And that's the relationship between the 9-period and then 18-period EMAs. And you can see, you know, as we were sort of climbing higher, we had a nice cross here. So as of this point, the institutions are hunting longs. And as long as this relationship stays bullish, they're hunting longs the whole way up. Then you can see we started to roll over, a bit of a chop, but then we started to roll over in earnest. And as we're going through here, they're just hunting shorts. And a bit of a chop, but then boom, back to the shorts, et cetera, et cetera. We just went through what I would consider an institutional sort of long zone. And, you know, we showed you on that Japanese chart, there's the double bottom, nice little triangle resolution. We could make the argument that, you know, technically speaking, we should at the very least be thinking about things like 50% rules of ranges. So not a surprise. We get the bullish sort of turn here. Institutions are hunting longs the whole way up. Well, as you can see with this recent technical damage, and then if we start, you know, looking at that Japanese, flyer chart, the divergence, right? So we have definitely a momentum signal saying that momentum is broken here. And you could argue in simplest terms, the institutions are now starting to get the, okay, well, now I can officially start hunting short setups. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. And, you know, heading into the weekend, what I noticed, and it kind of, you know, it's actually getting a little bit cliche now on Bitcoin, is it looked to me, and it would be interesting if anybody on the site can find this data or not, but it sure looked to me, and I'm trying to find the chart here while I'm talking, which is always difficult, but it sure looked to me like somebody had a very specific objective for the CME boys. So you'll notice that they had left this very noticeable gap on the CME chart at this level. And it was interesting because there's a pretty popular guy on the internet that's a technical analyst. And somebody showed him this chart and said, well, is this a gap? And this gentleman said, no, this isn't a gap. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's about as gappy as gaps get. And I didn't quite understand it. But what I noticed too was that we actually had this bearish harmonic also line up nicely with that gap level. So it didn't surprise me that on Friday they slammed it right into that level. I mean, just literally slammed it. I couldn't believe it. And literally the selling just stopped right on that level. And then we spent the rest of the day just sort of back jawing. And then it was weird right at the very close of business. And it was like literally right on the 1 o'clock bell. Let's see if I can find that chart here for you guys. It's one of these damn charts. Where was it? Yeah, fudge. It's not I had it open. I think I seem to, it looks to me like I've closed a window here that I wanted to have open. Sorry, guys. Totally amateur. But I noticed right on that 1 o'clock bell, ding, 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 they just slammed the market down hard right on the closing bell. I couldn't believe it. You know, this is the, you can see there, that is the 1 o'clock bell. So for New York, they had to finish by that 1 o'clock bell. Ding, 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 ding. And then right on the close, they just slammed it down. And I don't quite understand why, but it seemed to me that the New York boys, it's almost like they had an agenda. Somebody said that, hey, we want this thing to go out right at 8,600. And I'm a little pissed off at myself because I don't have that chart handy. Where the hell is it? Maybe, Julian, are you ready to do your presentation? And I'll find this chart. But it was very telling because a short setup came in like right on that event, and literally the market just collapsed as the New York market closed there. I was quite surprised, really, but I can't find the damn chart. I must have closed.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. If you want to take time to look for the chart.
Okay, cool. Actually, yeah. So let me go and find that. So
switch to my screen, and then how do I get rid of the heads when you switch to my screen?
All right. We are showing your screen. You're showing me, and now we're going to go present to everyone. All right. Awesome. All right. So you've got the ball.
Okay. How do I hide their heads though?
Well, you're showing your screen, and if I go present to everyone, which I've done, you should be full screen with no heads. So let's see, and sometimes it takes a minute or two for YouTube to catch up. So is anybody still watching over on YouTube?
Yeah, it looks like we're good. I see it.
Okay, cool. So without further ado, Julian has been working with his RSI model diligently over the past probably 2 or 3 years. He's gotten really, really good at it. So I'm going to put myself on mute, and I'd like for you to tell us what you're seeing.
Okay, so like I said, I had to recreate my charts. So it's a little different, and I'm kind of redoing things on the fly. I'm just gonna real quick go over what I think is going on with Bitcoin. If you guys go back to about, if you go to April 1st, we did a broiler chicken where I gave my viewpoint on what I thought was going on with Bitcoin and altcoins. That was right here. So right at the bottom. I basically said, you know, we were nearing a bottom and to look to go long. And we did rally, but it looks like, you know, the rally abruptly came to an end around the 7th or 8th. So we can see I have a breakdown on the daily chart. I am currently kind of bearish on Bitcoin and hunting shorts. Unfortunately, I missed getting these short setups here. Because I was on a mini vacation and I was kind of not looking at charts. And of course, while on that vacation, Bitcoin decided to finally move for the first time in, you know, almost a little over a week and a half, instead of just kind of going up and down like it was since it went to 9,600. So on the daily chart, I am bearish, and that's a longer term viewpoint. So like I said in the April 1st broadcast, if anyone saw it, you don't want to try to swim against the current. So always look at your higher time frame and then take trades based on the higher time frame on the lower time frame. So without further ado, we'll jump to the lower time frame, like an hourly chart. So on the hourly, you would have had a nice short here. Like I said, I missed this. This would have been a pretty nice shorting opportunity. I'm not going to go into exact detail on how I could have seen that, because that's something I don't want to give away completely for free. No offense to anyone. I'm just saying that this was a pretty obvious shorting opportunity here. You could have set a short here and just set a tight stop, or you could have waited for the breakdown and then shorted around down here. Either way, it would have been a pretty nice trade, and you would have exited around. You could either exit here, or you could have exited around here. I would have been impressed if anyone got an exit down at this bottom level around 8,200. Now we've got a bit of a counter trend rally going on. This is called the Keltner channel, and I use the Keltner channel often to see where there are stopping points. I find it similar to, it's like a moving Fibonacci almost. It doesn't use Fibonacci, but I say that because Fibonacci helps with levels, and I found that the Keltner channel really helps me personally with levels. So if I wanted to take a counter trend trade, which I wouldn't, because I found I often get burned doing the counter trend trades. I like to stick with the trend, as I said earlier. Now that we hit the upper, I would have exited the trade if I took a long down here. I would exit it here with this tag of the bottom of the Keltner channel. Now I see it's like kind of wavering here. So this would be a nice opportunity for a short. So this is where I would start hunting shorts. I might do something like this here real quick. Let's see, where's my short? So I would set something right here, really tight. I'd probably put a stop there, and I would just go to the bottom of this range, and that would be my short. Nice 4.6 ratio. I would try to get filled actually probably a little bit higher here, probably up here. I might set two. I'd set one here, and then another one here. But let's see if I would even be shorting just yet. So I don't want to short just yet, because I need to see this bar breakdown, but it never hurts to get in early if you want to get in right at the top here. It might go a little bit higher, but sometimes it's worth taking the risk with a tight stop, because, for example, with my trading plan, I can be stopped out. I think it's 3 times. 3 times I can do this, and I only need it to work on the 4th time for me to still make money. So I can get stopped out 3 out of 4 times, and on the 4th time, as long as I'm in the trade and it goes to my target, I'm still profitable. Let's see. Okay, so that's kind of my viewpoint on Bitcoin. Let me see if you guys had any questions real quick. Okay, so Andrew, I see what you're saying. However, I'm talking about based on the higher time frame. So the higher time frame is bearish. There's no bull yet. This is clearly a bear. If you go to the 1 hour, yes, this is a long if you're trading short term. And by short term, I mean anything that's less than a week. So this is currently a long trade. If you're in a long trade, you don't have to exit right yet. I mean, I personally would, because it hit my Keltner channel, but it could go higher. I don't like that you have a lower low here than right here. So you have the beginnings of a divergence on the histogram a little bit. We'll see what happens. You know, we could get a breakout higher. There's potential for that. But for me personally, I would be looking to hunt shorts and exit my longs, starting to slowly do that. Okay, so that's my view on Bitcoin really quick. Are there any questions on Bitcoin, or I'm gonna jump into altcoins? I'll wait like 30 seconds. I have to go grab my charger, so I'll wait 30 seconds for any questions on Bitcoin, and then I'll check again. If there's no questions in the YouTube area, then I'll jump into altcoins and go over what I said on April 1st, and then what I'm gonna say today. So I'll be right back.
All right, as you can see, Julian is very to the point. Keep it simple, and let's rock and roll. While we're waiting for him to come back, I think I would couple comments that I would make. I had let's see if maybe we'll pop on over here and make sure that this is presenting. I couldn't find the damn chart. I'm such an idiot. I hate when I do that. But anyway, I was actually watching this last night, and I actually had like a justifiable trend continuation coming out of Friday, and I even think I posted this on YouTube. I had, and so maybe I can find the chart there for you guys. But I had posted that it sure looked to me like we had a bearish bot set up. You can see boom, 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 boom. There was that Friday close. I mean, just remarkable how it just fell out of bed just like instantly. And based on the, this sort of stair-stepping pattern lower, I actually had another one develop through the weekend. I was pretty surprised. Maybe we'll change this. And as soon as you're ready to go, Julian, just let me know if you're back, and I'll shut the hell up. But if we do fail, and I had been watching this last night, boom, 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 boom. And actually, this is kind of cool if there are any like general site members. You've heard Thomas talk lots about whether if we fail at 38.2, be careful. But I had been watching this. I had one high, two highs, and I started to get an LJ set up here, trend line break. And I was watching this M. If this M had come in here, that would have set up a bearish bot and another trade setup, taking us down to 7,500. So I was watching that very closely. Now for me, because this high was taken out with this move here, I'm back on pause. But all of the levels, interestingly enough, all I've done is I just took this this A to B, and now I projected this off of this level. This is still perfectly valid to me. It's just now I have to wait for a new structure to develop to hit this. But make no mistake about it, everybody. You know, on OKCoin forwards, if AD 473 is given here, you know, we could have a pretty big swish right down into the 7,500 area here. So just be cognizant of that. And I really like Julian's comment about trying not to fight against the higher time frame trend. I think, you know, a week or two ago, we were riding longs and everything was just, all right, just keep hunting the longs. But, you know, from a gnarly old veteran like Brian, try and, you know, the tone of the market shifted there. And as long, at the very least, you know, I appreciate that, you know, consensus, everybody's like rock and roll, right? Oh yeah, we're all going to change the world and all that. Usually that doesn't translate into good trading ideas, which sucks, but that's just the way it goes. At the very least, guys, and people on YouTube and stuff, at the very least, the bulls, you got to get this bearish divergence to resolve itself before we can start getting rah bull. Now, could we have a counter trend rally back into resistance? That's certainly realistic. But I'll tell you, you know, like the institutions, I was sort of talking about this a few minutes ago. The institutions, they're going to be hunting against those moving average signals. Now I've lost that chart again. I swear I haven't got my head on straight today. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, hey, Shane's here. Hi, Shane. Can you grab that 2013, you know, Silk Road top chart that you did the comparison with today's market? I would love to show the people that chart that you did up. I don't know whether you can hear me or not. Yeah.
I'll bring it up right now.
All right. Thanks, man. All right, Julian, are you ready to move on here?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm ready to jump into.
Let's put Julian back on present to everybody. And where do you want to take us next?
All right. So real quick, I just want to show. So this was April 1st, right here. April 1st, right there. You know, a month and a half ago. So here's where I presented on the altcoin market. Let's see if I got volume.
On YouTube, or is your screen?
I'm doing you, but we can flip back to me.
Okay. No, it's okay. But these charts below.
Stella, you can always, I don't mean to interrupt. Stella just says, "Oh, so never play alts." Just
no.
Yeah, probably should maybe mute the old video.
No, I was just showing it real quick. I was gonna just hold on.
That's when you can play. What we're trying to say is the charts are like not really happy right now. When they get happy, oh boy, there's a ton of money to be made with Factory. But TradingView has more history. Well, that's cool. Now we can see here. So if I draw, so this line was my yellow line, and this told me when the alt market, when I would have started to sell a lot of my altcoins. This point is higher than this point, so it's an M. And when the market's making an M, let's draw up Brian. Brian loves this, and everyone's seen this a lot. When the market's making an M like this, and it's smiling at you, it means it's getting ready to. Anyone guess?
I'm not allowed to say anything, so I got to speak.
There we go. Take your money. F you. Get ready to take your money.
I create an index. Keep in mind, this is if you're running this plan, but keep in mind, a lot of people.
Okay, so I just wanted to show that, you know, I was trying to find the point where I said the dawn is coming, and the altcoin market was going to turn around because it was very bearish back in mid-April or the beginning of April. I don't know if anyone remembers. So here's my chart now. Unfortunately, it's not the same chart as the one I showed before because For some reason, that one got corrupted. So I'm going to redraw this line. So this is where we were back in April. So you see, if I can, let me just fix it a little bit here. It's hard to get it perfect sometimes. So this is April. This was April 1st right here.
Yep.
And then we broke out right after that. And look at how we rallied. This, by the way, for anyone watching, this line is a culmination of the top 20 altcoins on Bittrex. I'll show you the little script so you can see. I show the source code. So here we've got, you know, ETH, XRP, BCC, LTC, Dash, NEO, XMR. So we've got a couple of Bitcoins all together to give us a little index. I understand Binance is more popular now, but I wanted, for consistency's sake, to keep using Bittrex. So now let's see what's been going on since then. So we've got that line like that. I've got this line like this. I personally don't like the way the altcoin market is looking. This, oh, okay, hold on. I'm getting confused because it's a line. This, I shouldn't be drawing it on here. This is just a graph of the actual top 20 altcoins. That's it. It's just price action. Below is the RSI of it. Now, if we look at price action, it looks like it could just continue upward. But if we look down here at the RSI, which is what I was showing on that other chart, and this will make more sense. So if I draw like this, we can see April 1st is right here, which looks similar to what I was showing on the other chart, except in blue. So here's the RSI bottoming level. I mean, we're in extreme oversold area. Anywhere outside the purple's oversold. So then, you know, we took off. Hold on, let me fix that. All right. We took off, up, 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 and boom, on the 7th, same with Bitcoin, we broke down. We created a little bit of an M, and then we broke down. And now we're having a bit of a recovery. Now, while in the price area, it's almost, at least as an average, they're almost all back to where they were back on 5.5. But in reality, on the RSI, we're creating a divergence. So again, on the altcoin market for the higher time frames, I'm bearish. I don't like this. I don't like that, you know, we're overbought. We were overbought in 423. We pulled back, went higher, and now we were overbought again. We pulled back. Now we're going up. Until I see this like break up to here, I'm bearish on the alt market. I would either, if you've made gains, I mean, don't go crazy, but you could sell some of what you have if you've been holding and you haven't been selling half on a double. You know, maybe sell a couple because this could get nasty. I mean, you don't want to be buying up here. You don't want to be holding a ton of coins. You wanted to be buying back here in April, and now you want to think about selling. I also wanted to show this chart, which is the coin market cap. And we'll see that, I mean, look how much we dropped from the 5th to here. I mean, even in this culmination isn't back to the highs, even though my top altcoins are going back to their highs. So that's actually interesting for me to see. But I would look at this as a dead cat bounce. To me, this is all a dead cat bounce. Let me see if I can go to the lower time frame. We'll see what it looks like on like an hourly. Yeah, it looks really similar to Bitcoin on the hourly chart. So I've got something like this, and then I've also got this. So it is bullish for now. For maybe the past like 2 days, it's been decent, but I don't like it on the daily time frame. That's kind of it. I mean, I can go into, I can look at something like ETH. But again, on the daily, you see it broke down. It looks exactly like Bitcoin. It really, I feel, me personally, I feel like all these markets trade together. And even the histogram chart here, that's really bearish. I don't see anything there that gets me excited. I mean, of course, in the hourly, again, you've got your bull, bull, bull. But I don't think this is anything more than a dead cat bounce. That's about all I've got. Let's see if anyone's anything.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. And I think I probably agree with you. You know, dailies, we've got to clean some stuff up here. Lower time frames, yeah, looks like there's some, you know, some trading ranges.
Yeah,
and your dead cat bounce.
Daily. I mean, you could take trades on the daily. It's just, I mean, the 1 hour, the daily just looks, to me, it looks horrible.
Yeah, like if you did
as a Bitcoin bull, it is kind of depressing to even talk about and look at.
If you did a fib off of that range back up to the top, it sure looks like we're heading up into a resistance area. Yeah,
where, on Ethereum?
Yeah, just on your Ethereum, right? Against all those highs, you can see. If anything, we would have probably preferred that the market be on its knees heading into this conference rather than being bid up. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so that totally awesome presentation. If you can think of anything while I just show everybody Shane's chart here, you know, by all means, we'll come back to you. Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention it because Shane did some cool work at the end of the week comparing. Here is that comparison chart of the Silk Road top, and then, you know, its subsequent cleanup period, which, you know, I don't know whether it is actually the fact or whether it's just wishful thinking, but I'm kind of thinking that our correction is following this same sort of path, which means we should probably trade back down against these lows. That shouldn't shock anybody. But I guess I'm maybe it's wishful thinking. I don't know, but I'm thinking that because there is so much interest in this space that when we get down against these low areas, we're going to run into a lot of buyers. Like I said, there's a lot of people. In fact, I think even somebody earlier just in the call said, I got my bids at 4,300 working. I remember, Joshua, you're here, right? Was that you, Joshua, said that? Didn't you post some gaps on like stamp and stuff down at that area? Josh is our resident gap demon hunter, right? Just totally awesome trader. Yeah, there he is. So, and actually he sent me a really cool birthday present. I tweeted it out. Really cool cup. Okay. I suppose we could take some time, talk a little bit about alts. One thing I do like, you know, and, you know, just sort of reiterate sort of Julian's sort of thought about the broader market. And the altcoins. Can you guys see, you know, we talked about letters of the alphabet, like this is Bitcoin Gold. Can you see the big honking M working here? Ouch. This is the Zcash, big M, ouch. This is the Dash. And I'm wondering whether, and, you know, maybe you YouTubers and stuff can comment about this. I'm wondering if there's a collective move against the anonymous coins, because like the Japanese regulators came out last week and said that, you know, they're actually trying to push to have these anonymous coins removed from the Japanese exchanges. So I do see there's a lot of action there. One that was relatively popular on the site and which we traded to great effect, which is a popular coin with our sort of lead PHP developer site guy, Sjord, OMG. He's looking a little bit heavy here again. But at the same time, too, and this is the interesting part about trading, is that these tops, and, you know, I also have the tethers, you know, pairs for, you know, Litecoin, for example, and Ethereum Classic and stuff. You can see they're actually starting to work their way back down into buying windows. So try and figure that one out. Again, kind of talking about rangy type markets. And I can understand Julian's caution here in the altcoins. I don't see any W's here yet, but I do see that they've taken the fluff. Like, you know, Cripple recently was a perfect example where, you know, popular sports figures and stuff got all bullish here, which was not really that good of an idea. They cleaned the market up, reload zones. Here is Julian's April rally, right? And you can see it was a pretty respectable rally. I was actually disappointed because I heard people saying, in the media, oh, altcoins are up 80% since the April lows. Oh, there's a big bull market. And it's like, oh, Jesus, that's the last thing we want to hear. And sure enough, big fat M's, down we go. If anything, we're probably going to have to go through a period like how it took, to form the W, to form the M. We're probably going to need that kind of period here to try and put in a bottom. And it will be through that period that Julian's indicators start getting happier again, and we start actually feeling altcoin bullish again. On balance, I think that we had a bit of a bounce, and it was actually interesting because we like to follow our the Polo coins on the site, and you can see the Polo coins are starting to get pretty depressed again. We'll probably know that the bottom is in when we start seeing like serious, like minus 70, minus 80, right? Then we'll know that these things are near a bottom. So with that said, it shouldn't surprise that on balance, the technicians are kind of like, we got to cool our jets. This isn't a runaway bull. And if anything, we have to spend some time and clean up this shit before we can start moving on in earnest. At the same time, though, too, guys, please understand this is actually an interesting commentary because going back to the broker days, we used to always make this, ask clients this question, and you need to do this yourself. Are you trading, and well, use the stock market sort of expression and try and connect this with crypto. So we used to always ask people, are you trading the stock market? Oh, I'm going to short the ES. I'm going to buy the Dow Jones Industrial Average. I'm going to buy the NASDAQ 100, the QQQs, whatever. Are you trading the stock market? Or are you trading a market of stocks? And I would argue, and this has been my argument for probably the past 3 or 4 months, is that I believe that we are in a coin picker's market. And if you can find good fundamental stories and half decent structure to them, not too many coins out, relatively good developer team reputation, yada, 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 there is money to be made in these markets. And I would also argue too that if, I'm not necessarily endorsing this, but it's just like I heard guys online squawking about this one this morning, but you can see the W's and you can see how prices worked its way back down into W location. You can see price momentum here, not so happy. And, thinking Julian's RSI models, I mean, this is not a bull. But at the same time, too, we should be thinking, if you were interested in names like this, you have to force yourself to have those bids working, find gaps. We got cool scripts on our, in our community written by community members that actually help us find these gaps. So it makes it really easy. But, I'm not really pointing this one out in particular, but there was a coin just over the weekend that popped. And fuck, man, I got to say, I haven't seen so many people book so many doubles in one day just because we all had our positions. If you draw your reload zones, hopefully everybody can see this. It's not rocket science, right? All it is just you gotta, you kind of gotta know what to look for. And then when price does come into your buying window, you got to step up and pull the trigger. And hopefully everybody can see, we have our overbought, oversold indicator. So this thing went heavily oversold. We have momentum divergences building here through MACD histograms. We have nice volume breakouts here. So there was lots and lots of reason to get excited about this. And all of a sudden, kapow, right? And, we got off doubles. So I'm feeling pretty happy about our trading. And on this site, we just had, it was like cash register just going off. I couldn't believe how many site people knocked out doubles on this. And if anything, I got a funny feeling TRI stopped this bull market. But hey, we're here to make money from trading, right? That's what it's all about. So please understand, I think that this is a coin picker's market. If you can find the good fundamental stories, if you can find the good charts, there is money to be made here. And, this was the proof of the pudding is in the eating. This was a perfect example. So if anything, what I like to do on a site is just simply ask the community, okay, who's got fundamental drivers? What's the story? Who's driving the bus? Actually, coming into the lounge this morning, I noticed, hello, in all of the massive Bitcoin, you know, what are these things going to do? And CoinFed's moving 5-10%. Look at what this son of a bitch is doing here today. You know, and of course, you know, we're getting ready to sell halves on doubles. We got our orders working, so you just got to be ready, willing, and able. And it's just yet a good testament that, you know, there's always a bull somewhere. So, you know, just be patient and disciplined. And again, you know, it's not rocket science. Everybody should look at this and go, oh yeah, I've heard Brian say this before. Good old reload zones, right? Want to see signs of bullish in the divergence, nice and oversold, and oh, gee whiz, somebody's actually coming in on the buy side, and up we go. So there are names to be bought. There is money to be made out there, but you got to be patient and disciplined, and you got to have your reasons and your trading plan all set up. You got to take appropriate risks so that your anxiety is nice and low, and you got to get in there and trade. Okay, so I wanted to just mention that. And you can see there are names. I like this the core here is moving up nicely. You can see how we're come down. And I mean, you know, the writing's on the wall. You know, everybody on YouTube, you should really pay attention to this. This would be your sort of free nugget for the day. When you see OBV acting like this and the money just keeps pouring into these stories, this is a tell that, hey, this thing's actually a lot stronger than what it's showing you. And you can see, I mean, you know, the funny thing is, and we're heading into the silly season. You never know through the crazy silly season, but in a weird sort of way, and I've done this repeatedly with a ton of these coins. I don't know whether that's realistic or whether even we just, you know, be conservative and shoot for that. But if this thing gets going, there's no reason why this thing can't be up top here, right? I mean, really. And you can see money is pouring into this name. It's there right in front of you. In fact, I worked with one gentleman, and the guy's so rich. He actually came to Canada for a job and to work and, you know, try and make a better life for himself. He made so much money trading that he actually moved back to Europe, and he's like a little like despot now living in Europe. But anyway, the point of the matter here is, if you are watching this, you know exactly who I'm talking about, sir. And you know, the guy, very, very good trader. And when I showed him this OBV study, he was like, fuck, Brian, I don't want to watch price momentum. I'm just going to simply follow the money. And all he does is he just hunts for these bullish divergences in volume patterns. I can tell you, I can see the next bull forming here. I can see it right in front of my eyes. Try not to bet the farm on any one idea. There's no guarantees in this business. But, you know, nice, well-diversified portfolio, spread the jelly. There is money to be made here. But you got to build your plan and be ready, willing, and able to pull the trigger. All right. Whoa, look at this. GRS. Here's another one that's popping up here today. You know, if this is such a crappy market, why are these things being bid up? I wouldn't necessarily suggest that's a buy there. But you can see that, you know, if there are fundamental drivers and there are, you know, good tech. Look at the bloody OBV on this thing. I mean, you should look at this chart and go, gee whiz, somebody is accumulating the crap out of this thing. You know, if we zoom in, hopefully everybody can see the same logic. There's nothing really changes here. Good old reload zone. And can I find my, you know, once we get into location, this one's probably a really good example. Like I had said earlier, one gentleman on the site is a really big fan of the 88.6. And when you can have the 88.6, you know, 78.6, we call that the shark setup when market structure sets up off that. But when you have the 88.6 set up off of this previous market structure, we actually like to call that the Leprechaun setup. But you can see this beautiful W comes right in off of the original market structure level. And you can even see there's a nice cheeky little gap there that would have given you a nice fill. I bet my hunch is if I asked Joshua, he would say, yeah, well, I'm long right from here. And this is all the stuff that we teach on the site, people. This isn't rocket science. It isn't a secret. But the point here is, if you don't know this stuff, who's going to teach you? Is anybody in the public actually, is it in their best interest to teach you this stuff? No. So, you know, I guess the point here is this stuff works. It is, I think, and actually it's interesting that I learned about a week or two ago that there are some concepts that we teach on the site that other people that teach courses on how to trading actually want to take our course to learn some of this shit, which I thought was hilarious. So, but this stuff works, guys. It works, and there is money to be made. So just go and have some fun, right? And, you know, build your plan. Try and keep the anxiety as low as possible, and execute. So, well, thanks, Joshua. Do I feel like I'm all full of piss and vinegar today? I hope so. Is that Lund? Andrew says, take a look at that Lund now. Is it taken off here? Let's see. Woo, there we go. Woohoo! I better go see. I better make sure I have my orders working. Yeah, and the interesting thing is you could probably do all of these fibs going back up. You notice how, you know, reload short zone's going to line up with all of these previous wicks. Brian absolutely loves candle body. If you get this sort of like close and then open right off of that level, I love those as trade location. You can kind of see how this candle body peak right up in here stopped the bull on the previous one. We often talk about these are the guys that bought anticipating higher highs and whatever, and they're sleeping on the couch right now. So if they get any kind of opportunity to get off the couch, they are seriously motivated sellers. And so it makes sense why the market stopped there and had to come back down. So here we are ramping up. My hunch is, you know, we get up into these wicks, get up into reload zones. You can see we are now exploring above value. You know, let's see where they're taking this thing. And you can see she's got a head of steam ahead of her, right? The buyers are stepping up. So that's kind of cool. And now this would be really interesting. Ah, nicely done, Brian. Excellent. So I'm already seeing people saying that they're already booking free positions on this trade. So way to go, dude. Fucking A. Awesome. Good for you. And that's what that's what this whole community is about. Is I want you guys to do well. I absolutely love hearing success. It's not like we're reinventing the wheel here. You just need a little bit of guidance and a little bit of help, and anybody can do this. So hats off to you, Brian. Excellent. Nicely done, sir. All right. So, you know, there's always a bull somewhere, you know. Actually, I remember this, the Decred. Didn't it pop up here? I think we actually got some nice, again, I mean, look at this OBV. The writing is on the walls, people. You know, it's there. Oh, EMC2, is that taken off? And actually, you know, Bugra has built a fucking awesome script that's available on TradingView. So now we're at the point. Woo, hello, somebody's perking up here. That is EMC, but I think you wanted me looking at EMC2, eh? You know what would be really good, and anybody who's watching YouTube and stuff like that, you want to do this on your own? Oh, interesting. Yeah. So, you know, and this is actually a really good, Bugra. This is a really good anecdote that couple things. Number one, somebody was a seriously motivated buyer here. And then on this entire pullback, you can see just not that much interest in selling. So that's a good sign. So your OBV doesn't collapse. It just shows that, well, it looks like money's slowly continuing to come in. Then, of course, if we do good old fibs, it shouldn't shock us when we, you know, and well, I guess we can just go off the air. It's fine. But gee whiz, there's good old Brian's reload zone. 61.8, though, in this case, you can see, gee whiz, maybe we probably are a bit early. But you can even see Mountain. Mountain comes in, doink, buys, right? He gets his nice, juicy trade off. Probably sells half on this sort of pullback up into resistance. Moves his stop to scratch, and Mr. Pit Trader, right, he would be gone on his other half of his trade at this level. Comes down into line in the sand, and I often see this, guys. This is another little tidbit for you guys. Sometimes I'll see that the market will come down to 78.6, and then it will play with this level. In fact, everybody remember what's our coin from last year that I always make reference to, because it totally did it perfectly. Anyway, anybody remember? Anyway, library credits. Way to go, Thomas. You nailed it. So if you want a great analogy of price action, library credits is so perfect. But anyway, what I often see is, you know, line in the sand is line in the sand is line in the sand. You can tell that this thing's going to rock and roll because you can, well, you can tell if it can get back up, and this is going to be sort of accepting above value, just like we saw with that LUN. It's going to be a big ass, probably like a weekly W, if we can accept back above this high. And of course, it's going to be a bullish resolution of the line in the sand. So you can literally see the trade setting itself up off the higher time frames. But what was really cool, and this is where Bugger really kicks ass because his script is so cool. But hopefully you can see that we could even be setting up, well, even off of this range, right? Looks like she came right back down. They basically reset this thing right back down against the lows. But, again, especially I like to run like really low risk strategies in the altcoin space. We like to call it the nanny nibbles approach, where you're just going to go and buy levels and it's all about risk management rather than, pound the table kind of setups. So, we run this sort of nanny nibbles if you can come in and buy in against the bottom end of ranges. But you can see there's good old Leprechaun. There's our shark level. Gee whiz, there's a nice little inside bar reversal right off the line in the sand there. And I suppose we could even do another reload zone right here. And I love to call these like the double RLZs. So if you have like overlapping green boxes, you see how I did that? This is, again, just sexy, sexy trade location. So good eye, Bugra. And it doesn't surprise me that Bugra and his Megalodon script, did your script tell you to pay attention to this one, Bugra? Where's that Bugra guy? Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me one bit that Bugra is all over this thing like a wet rag. So perfect, Bugra. You're the man. Very, very impressed. In fact, Bugra, do you have a screenshot? Do you have like a little piece that we can give people? All right, there it is. So his signal's telling him to load up into here. Nicely done. So, if you have your little trading view sales pitch page, whatever, we can throw that out to the public. If I am all about empowering people. If this shit works and it makes you a better trader, rock and roll, man. So YouTubers, visit Bugra's page there and check him out. Okay, Julian, are you still here? Oh, looks like Julian took off. All right. I don't know. We've been chatting for a little while. Is there anything? I mean, we've actually given you guys on YouTube a couple ideas. So you can't say this was a total waste of your time today. I do think on balance that, the Bitcoin market itself, be a little careful here. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Andrew over there on YouTube was like, Waves looks really interesting. I don't know whether I could be a buyer of Waves right here. I do see that maybe this is, and actually, Andrew, I think you really like these, eh? This is like a flagpole. I don't know whether I would call this, though, a flag. I think I'd probably be more inclined to call this a pennant. So it looks something along those lines. So, yeah, that's a tough one. I guess we could go all the way off of there. Nice consolidation. Unfortunately, this is the kind of name that, I wouldn't call this a value buy. You can see where the value levels here. They did pull a really big FU move here to wash out the stops, which is a little disappointing, but you do see that on crypto a lot. And especially, this is probably a really good example of why I don't really like to leverage trade altcoins. I would much rather go in, and if I like the level and I see what, OBV's looking nice, I'll go in, do my nanny nibbles here kind of idea. But it's exactly because of this kind of shit why I'm not really a big fan of leverage trading these altcoins. I could see, however, here, if we drill down to say like maybe like a 4-hour chart, you might get like a bot setup that's firing here. So let's see if we go boobity boo. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Where are we here? What did I just do? Let's try that again. Boobity boo. And we throw on the bot levels, bot setup, 60. So no more, no less than 33, but no more than 66. So that's valid. We've got one low, we got two lows, kind of iffy low there, but let's see if the level's set up. So if I was pressed to quote unquote trade this thing, I think I'd probably be looking for, let's see what we got here. There we go. So the 25 level sets up off of a move above here. You can see it looks like there's a inverted head and shoulders here off the lower time frame. So, you know, I don't know whether I would be chasing here. I think what I see, Andrew, for whatever it's worth, is boobity boobity boo, boobity boo, boobity boo. And you can see that that's fired. And now what I think is probably going to happen here is, you know, the head to the neckline. If we project that off of the neckline, there's probably your upside objective. So I think we're probably going to rally up into this area here on the short term. And if I got a subsequent nice pullback, if we pulled back here, and then I got like seriously 3 serious lows to work with, I might entertain that. But I don't know. It looks a little iffy for me. Full disclosure, for whatever it's worth, I own a shitload of this. I did work for these guys a year or two ago and really never liquidated the position. So I got a whole bunch of this on the books. I'm not really in any big hurry to do anything. And if I wanted to do the trade, you can clearly see where my W's are down here, right? And I was a little disappointed in the way that they did that big fuck you move there to try and wash out the weekends. You know, I mean, these guys, they're interesting. Actually, we do have Andrew, if you are interested in these guys, one of our site veterans, Nils, is a principal inside here. So he's probably a good guy for you to chat with. Yeah, Nils. Yeah. All right, so we've been chit-chatting away here. I hope you guys got good value out of today's presentation. I gotta say, I have to agree with Julian in that you know, I used to use the expression I'm from Missouri. If something really is a bull, I want to see W's. I'm concerned about these divergences. Thank you, Joshua. Right, I'm from Missouri. Anybody who doesn't know what the expression, the state motto of Missouri is on the show, it's the show me state. So that's why I always say I'm from Missouri. What's the state motto of Arkansas? James is in there in the lounge. I don't even know what the state motto of Arkansas, but I'd say I'm from Arkansas too. I want to see this divergence cleaned up. And then, as I had said earlier, although for some reason I can't find the goddamn chart, I want to see the moving averages off of the higher time frames clean themselves up. You can see this is just the MEX swap. You can see there is that divergence. That's problematic. You can see the bull run that was set up here. You can see the bull divergence that was established to set up that run. So at the very least, what we simply have to do is just, you know, we got to cool our jets and wait for this divergence to clean itself up before we can get raw bull again. I think actually, or we could probably just throw it on here. I'll do this again. EMA. And actually, I'm getting pretty quick at this. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. And I also get the sound effects too. So you guys are so lucky. All right. So we'll put that on there. And then we will go here and boom. So really handy little tool. It just gives you an idea of what the bigger people, the higher ups, the grown-ups are thinking. And we just got this cross. So again, you know, bearish divergence and momentum. We've got the moving average. The institutions now are thinking shorts. I don't mind the idea of you letting the market rally up. Remember, we set off the 1 hour time frames. Things are looking a little bit oversold. 4 hours looks like we could have a little bit of a bounce kind of idea. 38.2, as we said earlier, Ray Burchett, he would say that you have to wait for this to be resolved before you make any grand conclusions about price. So rallies back into these moving averages, I think, are actually probably going to set up shorting windows. And if we can come back down and test these lows in earnest and put in a W, kind of like what you see through all of this, then I would be like, okay, we're feeling pretty good, rock and roll. If we're really lucky, right, we do something along the lines of this over the next week or so, and then start heading up. And then we can start drawing bullish bots and all that kind of stuff. But just off of this V bottom and the fact that the moving average is just crossed, I cannot be super bullish right now. And if anything, I just got to cool my jets. If I am a bull, great. Let's get some structure in here. Let's get momentum divergences cleaned up. And then we can start hunting on the long side again. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it at that for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. Did we show, Shane, did we show your picture? I don't know whether we showed that or not. You know, by all means, if you have altcoins that are in their sweet spots and they've got fundamental reasons to run, then rock and roll, man. Like I said, this is, I think this is a coin picker's market. Let's all go have some fun out there. But at the same time, too, this is not the, hey, you can just buy anything and throw it against the wall and it'll stick. This is not that type of market right now. Where's your chart? Yeah. Yeah, I thought I showed. Yeah, I did show this earlier. So I'm kind of, if we're really lucky, I'm actually thinking what I'd like to see is the market just sort of go sideways for the next 6 months. Let's get the public out of here. I got no business playing in this space. Let's get all those indicators nice and, you know, setting up bullish divergences and all that. And let's rock and roll. Probably heading out of the summer here. But keep in mind, we do have a congressional election coming this fall. I don't know whether they can really ramp Bitcoin ahead of that event or whether we just have to just sort of cool our jets for the next, you know, maybe 6, 12 months kind of idea. But in this window, like I've said a few times, if you can find good fundamental drivers, good looking charts, nice location, nice divergence, nice structure, there is money to be made. But you just got to be damn specific. Okay, I'm going to quit my rant. You guys have yourselves a great day. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you very much, Julian. That was totally awesome. We do have a new term of the school starting up. So if you'd like to learn how we can do all this stuff on a regular basis and keep a level head and relatively calm and cool and collected through all this, feel free to stop by the site and look into participating in our level 1 program that's starting in about a week or so. And of course, all you recent graduates of the level 1 program, I want to see you being good emissaries of good behavior out there in the marketplace. Keep working on those trading plans. Keep risk management super focused. And we'll always keep hunting those setups. All right, guys, all the best, and bye for now.